In this episode, I'm going to show you guys how to pass the IELTS test in 5 days, okay? Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm not saying 5 months, I'm not saying 5 weeks, I'm not saying 15 or 14 days. That is the stipulated amount of time you need to take out to prepare for your IELTS test. I mean 5 days, okay? Now, if you follow all the steps I'm going to itemize in this video, you are definitely going to get at least 7 bands in your IELTS test. So if you want to know more about the things you need to incorporate and start doing in your preparatory steps to take the IELTS test, why don't you give me just 1 second? I'm going to dash up to the market, and you guys already know what comes next. I'm going to be right back with more.
You know the way I do it when I drop lyrical. Anytime I spit lyrical, philosophical. All the niggas mimical, but they stare still on taking literal. Punchlines collateral. Maximum damage.
Hello YouTube, hello Chronicles, how are you all doing today? It's still your value-based King Fuse from FuseChronicles.com. Now, we are a travel, tourism, and lifestyle-oriented channel here on YouTube, bringing you all the tips, hacks, and bits about travels to select countries around the world. So whether you're looking to travel to study, to travel to work, or to travel to live, we come out with detailed information, actionable information about traveling to select countries. Now guys, if you are interested in traveling to different countries, maybe like Australia, like the UK, like Canada, like the US, to study or even to work, and you are from countries that are non-speaking or countries that have English as a second language, you're going to be required to take an IELTS test. Now, there are 2 types of IELTS tests. There's the IELTS academic test and there's the general IELTS test, okay? The IELTS academic test is for people who are traveling overseas to study in universities, high school, or stuff like this. And the general IELTS test for people who are traveling overseas for work, for professionals, okay? Now, I took the IELTS test, okay? I took the IELTS test, and when I did, I registered the IELTS test on the 1st of the month, and I took the test on the 5th of the same month, and I scored 7 bands in my IELTS test. In fact, I did so good in the spoken test. I got an 8.5 band in the spoken test. The rest was an average of 7 points. All right, now listen. I'm going to tell you this. It's not as difficult as most people think. It's not as difficult as most people think. Yes, I must confess, before I even got into register, before I even went in to sit for this test, I was one of those people that felt, oh, it's just speaking English. Everybody's started speaking English now. Everybody knows how to speak the English language, so it's going to be easy peasy, like getting candy from a baby. But it wasn't so. Now look at what I found out. The IELTS test is not a test that proves who speaks the most or who can write the most. It's a system to this madness. The pattern to the madness is going to make you get the desired band that you need to finalize your admission process into the chosen university that you're going to study in, or to get accepted by that company that wants to offer you employment and sponsorship to come study or to come work overseas. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this video as comprehensive as possible, but I'm going to try to make it as short as possible as well. I'm going to start from the first section, okay? Now, there are 4 parts to the IELTS test. There's the listening, there's the reading, there's the writing, and there's the spoken part of the IELTS test. And I thought to make this video as soon as possible, because I actually literally just took this test last month. I registered on the 1st of November, and I took the test on the 5th. So while the experience is still fresh, and the scores or the bands is still fresh, I thought to make this video. So because I know lots of people are scared of the IELTS test. This is one of the reasons why I took it. Lots of people keep saying, "No, Fuse, can you show me a company that's hiring without the need or IELTS test is a key requirement? Can you tell me schools that are trying to offer admission internationally without having IELTS test as a major requirement or a sticking point?" So guys, relax. It's not even difficult. It's not that deep. Everybody can do it. If I can do it, I'm sure you can do it as well. All right? Now, the first thing you need to know is whether you go to the IDP website or you go to the British Council website, there are two ways that you can register for your IELTS test. If you're in Nigeria, it's literally just 83,000 naira. If you're overseas, I think it's $100 or thereabout, but don't quote me on that. When you go online, just go on Google and type IELTS registration, and it's going to take you to where you can register for the exam. You can either choose the paper-based test or the computer-based test. I took the computer-based test, but I recommend that you take the paper-based test. Because what I found out about the paper-based test and people who took it and what they told me is they tend to have more time than the computer people. For example, in the listening section, you have time to listen and you literally just have to tick the options, and they give you 10 minutes after the session or after each section to transfer the answers to your answer sheet. So I think the best thing, if you want to ask me, go for the paper-based test. But if you're really computer literate and you believe you can type so fast, then obviously the computer-based test is good for you as well. Now, let me just go into the nitty-gritties of the exam. If you are preparing for the IELTS exam, what I'm going to recommend that you do is just take a refresher course. This is what I did. Basically, what you need to do is to try to get as much English spoken. And when I mean English, I mean British English. London English, that's what the way they say it. British English, maybe a movie, maybe music. If you're into rap like me, get Stormzy's album, get Dave's album, get all these English recording artists, Adele, get the music, and try to listen to as much fast-paced music as possible. Or a movie, an English movie where they speak very quickly. You need this stuff. You need to be conversant with understanding high or fast-paced English, where people are talking so quickly and you can still decipher what they are saying. Do this and you will thank me later, because in the listening section, you're going to be listening to either monologues or dialogues. Usually the first section, it's a monologue. Someone who is just making a statement or trying to reminisce about the past, and it's very slow. The first section, each section, particularly the listening section and the reading section, are made up of 40 questions and is grouped into a section of 10 questions, sometimes 6 and then 4 later, but 10, 10, 10, 40. It starts very slow from the first 10 and it starts to gain momentum when you get to the next section of 10 questions, and gets even faster still when you get to the third one and then fourth one. Now, what you need to do is, as soon as you verify that your name is correct and your registration number is correct, you click Start Test. It gives you a few seconds before they give you the instructions about what you should do. You're going to be given 10 seconds, 29 seconds, or 30 seconds to read this section. Before that time, as soon as you log into the test environment and you can see the questions, start reading. The first section, stop reading the first section, because you cannot read section 2 or section 3. It starts by section. Read all the questions in that section, then go back to the first 4 questions. Okay? 4 questions. Read those questions very, very well. Read the answers or the options. Then when they give you the instruction, you're going to be given 30 seconds to go through this section. Then go again and read the questions again. Then come back to those first 34. 1, 2, 3, and 4 questions that starts the section, and read them again. Then when you start listening, you're just going to be listening for the answers, the fill the blank, or the correct option to click. Okay? Do this, guys. Don't even play around. Do this stuff. When you get to, if you can do this, you find out that you're going to finish that section before everybody else, and you're going to have enough time to click into the next section. And the extra time you buy for yourself, you're going to use it to read the next section, just as you did in the previous one. So Go through the questions as quickly as possible, come back to the first 4, and when they now tell you, you can now read the questions. You're going to be given 30 seconds to read the question. Read it and come back to the first 4 again. So you're going to buy time again in the second section, then you use the time that you bought and invest it in the third section. Read everything. When they give you 30 seconds, read it again, then come back to the first 4, read again. Why? It's going to keep your mind sharp and it's going to make you expectant. You're going to be expecting the answers to those blank questions. I don't know why I'm stuttering. It's going to give you the answers to those blank sections. Now I'm going to tell you what did me over in this section, the listening section. They gave us, I think it was 6 questions that had to do with vacuum cleaner, the Hoover. And we're talking about different types of Hoovers that have been manufactured or founded or made from inception since 1909 or something like this. And they were talking about the TX22, the FX this and that. And I was like, as I was reading all this or listening to all this technological stuff, it was just flying over my head. I'm not even going to lie, in this particular section or this segment of questions, I just knew 2 of the Hoover brands that they talked about. And after I finished filling those brands, I just guessed the remaining. And this is one thing, guys, you are free to guess. It's okay for you to guess. Don't even think you need to know everything. You can know 5 in a section and guess the rest. You're not going to be marked down for guessing. Try not to leave questions unanswered. It's going to affect you. Imagine leaving 5 questions unanswered, which means you have, out of a possible 40 points that you could have gotten from that section, you're going to be fighting for only 35. It's madness. Alright, so if there's anything that you're going to take away from the listening section is, use the extra time when you start, before you get the prompting to start reading, the 30 seconds to start reading. Go on a limb and read the first 10 questions, then come back and read the first 4. When they tell you you can start reading, then read it again, come back to the first 4. Slow down. Even if you miss an answer, and the statement follows an order of chronology. So it starts from question 1, they talk about where you need to fill it, they go to the next part. You're always going to find out when you're looking at the questions that, yes, this is where they are in the conversation. But even if you miss one, even if somehow you go carried away by a fine girl in the room, or your invigilator, or maybe a fine guy in the room, whatever floats your boat, don't worry, don't panic. You don't have to panic. Panic is going to mess you up. Being panicky will mess you up. Okay? When you miss one question, because even when they give you the answer to the question, there's going to be other supporting dialogues before they move on to the next question and you have to fill in the blanks. Don't worry. If you find out that you've missed the conversation for this question, jump to the next question and read it and just make sure that you've not reached here yet. Everybody can pass this stuff, guys. Trust me, everybody can do it. And at the end of your listening section, they're going to give you an extra, if you're doing the computer-based test, they'll probably give you an extra 10 to 20 seconds for you to round up. So you can always go back and even guess whatever you thought you heard, and you can just go on and fill whatever blank spaces you left, but don't leave any blank space. And like I said earlier, it starts slowly. The next session, the listening session, it gathers momentum and increases in pace. The conversation comes quicker, but try to slow down, relax. Relax yourself and you're going to do fine. Now the next section is the reading section. Now I found that the reading section was a little bit trickier than the listening section. Now, if you go to the British Council website, you're going to hear them tell you stuff like, for the reading section, always go for the topic sentences. Now, the topic sentences in each paragraph is the first line of that paragraph. They'll tell you, read that, and then read the concluding sentence of each paragraph to answer most questions. And I'm going to tell you, this is not correct, or is not the rule of thumb every time. What you need to do, depending on the questions that they give you, might be true or false or not given questions. Those ones are a little bit tricky, because with those kind of questions, they'll give you a sentence or a premise, and you have to say whether this is true, whether it was false, or whether this information was not given in the passage. This is a little bit tricky. Go through the questions first, okay? Take the first question, then scan the first paragraph. Chances are the answer to the first question is going to be in the paragraph, the first paragraph. If you don't find it there, go to the second question and go to the second paragraph. If you don't find the second question there, go to the third question and find it in the third paragraph. Do this as quickly as possible. Do this as quickly as possible. Now, it's also going to be 10, 10, 10. Now, the first and second sections are a little bit easy. They're not difficult. So you should spend at least 12 minutes in the first section. The system is going to tell you don't spend more than 20 minutes in this section, but try to spend only 12. Okay, now the reason why I'm telling you go to the first question and find the first paragraph, second question, second, is usually in the IELTS test, the first question, you're going to find the answer to the first question in the first paragraph. But if you don't do that, then which means it doesn't follow that order, what you need to do then is to try to skim each paragraph. What I mean by skim, usually the way it's done is a topic sentence that says, Black people are liable to die younger than other races. That's what that paragraph is about. It's captured in that topic sentence. And the concluding sentence is, by now you should know one of the reasons why black people have always been known to die more than other races. That's the concluding paragraph. So when you read a topic and read a concluding sentence in that paragraph, you already know what is contained there. Every other thing there's going to be points and examples to support that premise. So you skim through that, skim through the next, and quickly answer those questions. Now, why should you use 12 minutes to answer the first section? Because it's going to buy you more time to answer the next section, which is another extra 10 questions. When you get there, the same way, try to match the first question to the first paragraph. If you find that they don't follow any order of chronology, then like the first section, skim through it as quickly as possible. Try to notice key words in this paragraph, key words, and relate these words to the question. Sometimes they use synonyms to hide these answers. For example, they could say, the question could be, why are black men seem to die younger? And in the answer, it could be thicker colored skinned men. Thicker colored skinned men. Thick color is something that is darker. It's the same thing as black. But they just use synonyms to hide the answer. So you need to open your mind to this. And how can you get used to this? If you register for the IELTS through British Council, then what you need to do, take the first test. So you have two options to take the test, mock test on the British Council website. Take the first test first, prepare for the exam, take the first one. Depending on the band you get in the first one, go back to the drawing board and prepare even more, then come back for the second test. You'll find out that your band is going to improve, at least mine certainly did. My band, the first time, when I did the test the first time, I was getting six bands. And when I did it second time, I got 6.5 band in some and 7 band in some. So there was marked improvement. Okay? Now, you need to use the British Council resources, guys, because sometimes in the reading section, you're going to need to drag answers and put them to questions, or drag questions and put them to answers. And sometimes the technology might defeat you. You might not even know you might not know that you need to scroll down to see the remaining answers. So you spend so much time trying to figure out the technology, or trying to figure out the user interface that you're using to answer, or you're going to use to answer the question, and time keeps ticking away. Okay? Now, the reason why you need to save so much time is when you start to get to the section 3 and section 4, particularly section 4, that's when a lot of homonyms, a lot of synonyms get to be used, and the questions get very, very trickier than the other ones. You want to spend the rest of your saved time in this section. But don't forget, try to use topic sentence, concluding sentences. If that doesn't work to help you find the answers, then try to skim as much as possible. Whatever you do, try to relax. Try to relax. Don't lose your head. When you lose your head and start to panic, everything is gone. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next section. Next section is the writing section. The writing section, there are two parts to the writing section. The first part is the report. So they will probably give you a line graph, some bar chart or a pie chart that has to do with an economic analysis that was done by somebody or a company, and they will tell you to report this. So it could be, why are women more productive in the workplace than men? And they'll give you like 4 years, and they'll tell you 1908, 1930, 1950, 1970, and the 2000. So you have to use this to make your point, or to buttress for and against, or to argue both angles. Whatever you have to do is going to be highlighted in the question. Read instructions. Even in the listening section, in the reading section, always read instructions. Always read the caption of the passage. It's going to help you sometimes when there's no more time and you have to guess. Don't jump the topic and start to read the body of whatever passage they give you to read in the reading section. Read the caption. In this writing section, try to read the instructions. Now, if they give you multiple bar graphs or bar charts or multiple line graphs, always repeat the question in the first paragraph. For example, the question might be, women are seen to be more hardworking than men in the workplace or in the office. Is this true or is this false? Use this report to analyze your answer. Now, your opening paragraph should be, this report shows graphical representation of whether women are more hardworking than men in any given working space across 4 countries. You list the countries there. What you just basically do is paraphrase the question in the first paragraph. Okay? Then your second paragraph, you start to dissect each year and talk about the trends. Please do not repeat your vocabulary. So if you use there was an upward revision in the first paragraph, you can say in paragraph 2 there was an increase, or in the next line there was an increase. You're going to be marked down if you keep repeating the same words over and over. Another thing that you spend your time doing, get books. I have the book here somewhere, let me show you. This is a book I'm reading currently. It's a book by William D. Cohen. I'm not going to get any money for referring this book. You must not read it, but just get a book. I'm reading a book called Money and Power. Okay? So get a book and read books. It's going to improve your level of vocabulary. Okay? There are high value words that you use in your writing section, and automatically they're just going to give you higher scores when you're marked. But there are 2 sections in the writing section. There's a report section and there's another section where you're just going to write an essay. The report section carries a lower mark compared to the essay, but I'm going to come to the essay in a little bit. So what you're going to do is, if you are given multiple line graphs, take each paragraph to dissect each year. So one line graph might be for the year 2000, the next one could be 1980. Start from the lowest one. So if it's 1980, start from there first. And if they talked about different months, please do not try to micromanage the month. Don't say there was an increase in January, there was a decrease in May. No. Just say there was a gradual increase over time from this point to this point. If you keep talking about each month, you're going to bore your marker and they're going to mark you down. Note this stuff. Okay? Try to be as concise as possible. Try to use conjunctions. Try to use complex sentences, not only simple sentences. You're trying to show these people that you know how to use the English and you have a healthy command of the English language. And don't forget, when you finish breaking down each year on your line graph, don't forget to conclude. Now, don't forget the question is, women are more hardworking than men. You can say from the line graph that was analyzed in this report, it is very clear to see from the year such and such to the year such and such that women were indeed more productive than men. Bam, that's you done. Okay, now the next one is the essay part, and this carries more mark. The first one, you should, I think the word limit, you shouldn't write less than 150 words. Try to aim for 170 or 200. I think I did like 350 or 400 in that one. That's because I can type very, very fast. The second section, the essay section, just takes you don't need to write lower than 250 words. You don't need to write lower. If you write lower than 150 in the first part and lower than 250 in the second part, you're definitely going to lose mark. We'll try to write above, okay? Now, the second one, they might say stuff like, Okay, let me tell you the question I got. Let me tell you the question they gave to me. They said technology is good for, some people say technology is good for to help our daily lives, and other people beg to differ. Can you argue for and against, and then give us your conclusion as to whether you want the adoption of technology or it should be rejected? Okay, now I met someone after the exam that was talking about computer and talking about how computers helped us advance our civilization and how hacking is a problem. That's not what I did. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I did. What I did was very, very simple. I talked about how technology has helped us travel quicker. Maybe because this is a travel and tourism channel, that's why it was easy for me to think in this way. So I talked about how the invention of airplanes has helped us avoid armed robbery, particularly for those people who are from Nigeria. You know, in the 90s and in the 80s, if you were traveling from the capital to the west, maybe in Lagos, or you're traveling from the capital, which is Abuja, to the southeast, Umuahia, Abia State, Imo, wherever, there were lots of robberies on the road. So there were cases of people who saved up all their money all year round and got to December and they were robbed on the way and all this money was gone. So I talked about this stuff and talked about how airplanes has helped us avoid this bottleneck of armed robbery and stuff like that. Now we can fly from point A to point B, save time and save being robbed. However, due to lack of maintenance and bottlenecks and bribery and corruption, a lot of people bribe safety officials so that they can pass their airplanes as airworthy, and this has led to a lot of plane crashes. More people die from airplane crash than anything else. And when a plane crashes, and a car could crash and most of the passengers are going to survive, but when airplane crashes, most people always turn up dead. So as you can see, I'm using the airline or the aviation industry to drive home my point. Corruption is the downside. Fast arrival in your destination is the upside, and avoidance of robbery, armed robbery on the road is the upside. So I just balance it on a scale and I submitted my paper. I always made sure that when I'm in this essay part, I had a topic sentence and each paragraph had a conclusion. Alright, so I argued for, argued against. It was basically just 2 paragraphs. The introduction, where I repeated a question. Most people say that technology is not good for our society. Some people beg to differ. In this piece, I'm going to explain to you why both sides might be correct or might be wrong, and then I jumped in. First off, and blah, 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 blah. Alright? Then in the conclusion, I argued for, argued against, and then I gave my inference. I said, listen, I believe technology is good for us because blah, 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 blah. Alright, and I turned that in. That was it. I think this section I did 500 and something words. Don't ask me how. The limit is 250, but I did 500 and something. You just need to know how to write really fast. And please, when you write each paragraph, don't wait till you finish it all before you proofread. When you write each paragraph, read it quickly to make sure there are no errors. Try to maximize the amount of big words you use. Vocabulary, big words is going to help you. Okay, it's going to help you. And try to use link words. However, try to use link words to make complex sentences. This is going to help you. Okay, so this is it for the writing section. I know this video is going too long, but stick with me. I'm going to tell you how I was able to get 8.5 band in my speaking section. Now the speaking section, usually this is supposed to happen 24 hours or a couple of days after the first 3 parts, but I did mine on the same day, and I was the first person that was called to do his. Imagine how tense I was. I was like, oh God, am I gonna pass? Oh, I'm sorry for being dramatic, guys. So the speaking or the spoken section, you're gonna go in. Try to keep it simple, guys. I made it so difficult for myself. I was going too deep even in the first question. And the more you give a deeper answer, then they tend to understand that your command of English is very good, and they keep going deeper. Okay, what questions do they ask in this question? Do you believe, oh no, first of all is, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? And I went and I told them, this is what I do for a living, okay? Why do you do this for a living? Imagine that question, why? All right, and I go in, and I try to be as natural as possible, okay? I went in and I told them why I love what I do for a living. And I said, okay, do you think more young people need to get into what you do for a living? I said, yes, they need to do this. And I said, why? There was always a why. Always a why. And I go in and I tell them this. I say, okay. And they say, when do you wake up every day? Can you imagine? When do you wake up every day? So I wake up by 4 a.m. every day. Why do you wake up by 4 a.m. every day? And I go in and they say, do you do this every day? I say, yes, all year round. I say, yes, why? And I keep going. And then I'll talk about do you think young people have this immense pressure on their shoulder to succeed in life? I'm like, yes, as a matter of fact, they do. And I buttress my point and say, why? And I go in again, and each question just gives birth to a deeper level of more questions that you need to answer. But you know what, guys? Keep it simple. Try to use as big words as you can. Try to use complex sentences instead of simple sentences. You're trying to make them understand that you know how to speak the English language, and your command of this language is on the high side. Okay, and you find out that when they see that your English is so good, they tend to cut you off while you're talking and move on to the next question. All right, now what can you do in your spoken section? What you can do is very simple. Try to talk about yourself, the things you like, and use your phone to record yourself. Then listen to yourself. Try to make sure that you don't break. You don't do no, don't stutter. Try not to stutter. Try not to stammer. Try not to do don't do that. Try to think. It's okay for you to take a break. It's okay for you to ask questions if you don't understand the question asked of you. You can say stuff like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Could you please explain this question to me? And they'll take out time to explain it to you. Okay? And even when they explain it to you and you don't understand it, you can go on and say, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to this question. I've been thinking about it, but I don't get it. I'm really, really sorry. What I think this question is blah, 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 but I don't even think that's the right answer. I don't just know. You're going to get marks for expressing yourself. Don't just hear the question and just keep quiet. Keep mute. Don't even do that. Okay? You're going to do well. All you need to do during the whole process, all the stages and levels and sections, is to relax. Take deep breath. When you go to your test center, try not to fraternize. Try not to make new friends when you get there. You can make friends after the test, not before. Okay? I'm sure you guys are going to do well. If you have any other questions about the IELTS test, you're confused, maybe I was too fast, leave your comments down in the comment section. I'm going to be overjoyed to respond to every question. And if you feel the comment section is too public, you can slide into my DMs on social media. I'm active on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and the handles are up there. You can hit me up with any question you have, and I'll be sure to respond to every question. And if I was too fast in this video, be sure to go to the settings tab, toggle with the gear icon there, and modulate the speed to the level that you feel very comfortable with. As you guys can see, my English is even better now because I spent so much time preparing for this IELTS test, even though it was just 5 days. Okay? So, if this video was valuable to you, if you got some value in this video, why don't you go on ahead, go down, smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, like our videos, and share them with your friends so that more people get the value you just got. Okay? And in our next episode, I'm going to be coming out with a video that tells you how you can move and relocate to Malta. So Malta is a very small, luxurious, and very beautiful island in Europe, and they are opening their borders to more people globally to come take up jobs in this island. So I'm going to tell you all the tips, hacks, and tricks, applications, documentations you need to submit to get a work visa to Malta. So if you don't want to make this video, subscribe, like, share this video with your friends, and turn on the notification bell, okay? And like I always say, guys, I'm gonna switch it up today. Money, you don't need money to have some sense. You don't need money to get wisdom. You need wisdom to make money. So don't always think, oh my God, I need money. I need money. You don't need money. You need to read a book. You need to learn from other people that came before you to get the wisdom to get money. Okay? And if you want to know more, if you watch this video and you still want to know more about the skill shortage list for New Zealand, everything is about the skill shortage list, salary cap, the professions that are granted visa to come work in New Zealand. If you want to learn about this and more, a video is going to be popping up to my right. Click it and know the right jobs to apply for. Not all jobs lead to visa sponsorship. So click it and I'm going to be giving you that information in that video. And until the next one, I remain your value-based King Fuse. I'll catch you guys on the next class. Bye-bye.